Hey, it's the advocate, and today I have the opportunity to speak with a colleague of mine who is a registered nurse. And his name is Derrick Washington, and he is going to give us some information about his field today. Welcome, Derrick. Thank you for stopping by and give us your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to, share whatever experience I'm able to share, and just to give back in any way possible.
Definitely. So, how did you get into the nursing field?
This is, I think the nursing field chose me per se. A friend of mine, female friend of mine, years ago, recommended when I was in, I guess you can call it that phase of trying to find your niche. Said, why don't you try nursing? So back then I used to say, like, nursing, that's for women. I was like, no, I can't do that. So long story short, she talked me into it. I gave it a try. I took the entrance exam test to see if I can get into the school. And by God's grace, I passed. So one step led to another, and I just stuck with it. Next thing you know, I'm in the nursing program. And then I stuck with it from there. And towards the end of my, I guess you could say, journey in nursing school, we started doing clinicals. So during the clinicals, you do every nursing specialty: OB, med-surg, telemetry, psych. So when I did my psych clinical, that's where I had the best experience. I enjoyed the interaction with the patients. I felt like I could give back. I don't know, something about psych drew me to it. So I just ran with it. So my first job out of school was psych, and I just stayed with psych the whole time. And I've been doing this psych nursing, so I would say roughly over 10 years now. And I've just been running with it. And here I am.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges as a 10-year vet that you have faced, and what are some of the success stories as a nurse that you faced?
I would say some of the challenges are learning personalities and learning how to overcome obstacles you would have with different personalities. I've learned over time that every situation is individualized. Every situation, there's no generic solution for all situations. So it depends on that particular person, that particular situation, and circumstances. So you have to take one case at a time and treat it as an individual special, something unique from all other situations. And then eventually, I've learned over time through experience. Wisdom is the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher in that you learn best through experience. And I've just learned to keep adapting that. You're never going to know everything, but you learn as you go.
Now, you work in the psychiatric units in nursing. What are some of the differences between a nurse that works on medicine and a work that will work in a psych unit?
Okay, so there are several areas with that. So I would say one, let's start with the census. In medicine, it's more census based, especially when it comes to each nurse. A big thing in nursing is nurse to patient ratio. So anything above like 9 or 10 is considered a kind of high census for nurse to patient ratio. But in psych, it's not just the nurse to patient ratio. You have to take acuity as well. So if I have 5 patients and another psych nurse has 8 patients, I can have the worst patient load. Why? Because of the acuity. The 5 patients that I have may be more aggressive, may need more attention, more work than the 9 patients the other nurse may have. So in psych, you have to deal with acuity plus the number of patients, the nurse to patient ratio. And psych, you're not just looking at the psychological problem. We still monitor the medical issues as well. So in medicine, you're looking at strictly medical issues. Psych, you're looking at psych, but you also have to monitor medical issues as well, because, for example, you can have a case to where a person's psychosis is medically induced. Sometimes an STD can cause a psychosis. A lot of people don't know that. So you're looking at both areas. You're looking at psych plus medicine and seeing how they interplay. Is this purely psych? Is this an intermingling of medicine and psych? Or is this a medically induced psych situation? So you're looking at both aspects. To where medicine, you're just purely looking at a medical issue.
Now, there are a lot of young people who are considering the nursing field,
Okay.
looking to connect some dots. What advice would you give to a younger person who may be looking, maybe just fresh out of college, looking to get in the nursing field? What advice would you give to a person such as that?
I would say if you have an interest in psych on any level, I would say talk to people in that field, which you can do. A lot of people, this is the idea. Call up, send an email. This is what I did. This is the best way I found jobs, but I also found you can call which you can get, which is called an informational interview. Not necessarily that you're looking for a job, but just you want to learn more about the field. So for example, you can pick any hospital. So say like you have an interest in psych or OB or peds or any of those areas, you can, a lot of times they have the directories listed in the hospital websites. You can look up the directors or managers for those particular areas of interest and just send an informative email saying that you would like to speak with them if they have any time, just to learn more about the field because you have an interest, which is called an informative interview. And those are the best avenue to get the inside scoop on the areas of interest that you're in. And plus, those people that are in the field, they can give you the best avenues as to possible employment and what employers look for when and if you want to work.
Now, if you could look back at the beginning of your career as a nurse,
Okay.
what advice would you give your younger self?
I would say be patient. I would tell myself to be patient. It'll come. Be patient. Stay hungry. And just know that setbacks are a part of the path. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have mistakes happen. But as long as you don't let that keep you down, you learn from those mistakes. So let the mistakes be a lesson or your teacher to say, okay, this is where I went wrong. This is how I can do better next time. So never let your mistakes deter you. The mistakes are sometimes your best lessons. So my past, I would tell my younger self in the past, coming from the future, be patient. It's okay to make mistakes and stay home.
Now, given the nature of nursing, have you noticed any trends of nursing that where nursing may be headed in, or is it pretty much the same as it in the last 10 years?
I would say it's on an upward trend. It's still on an upward trend. The last time I looked at the latest labor statistics, it said that the growth rate for the nursing field is on the above average. It's compared to benchmarks of other industries or other fields. It's on the upward trend, above average job outlook. So there's a growing demand in healthcare. One thing I'll say, there's always going to be a demand for healthcare jobs. People are always sick. People are always, there are certain fields that will always be in demand based on just the nature of society. So if you're worried about or concerned about that aspect of would the job demand be there if I went into the career years down the line, I would say yes.
Exclusively by Tess is an event design and management firm. Exclusively by Tess has been in business for over 10 years, and she is certified in special events and parties. Please schedule your consultation today. As a male nurse,
Yes.
how do you feel you are accepted by your peers?
Actually, at first I thought when I first started was that, the acceptance may not be there because this is a quote unquote female dominated industry. But in fact, you're like welcome because there's so few males within the nursing field that you're considered like a rare find because a lot of the time you have patients that want to talk to a guy, or you may have a young kid or a young guy. I mean, they may need that male role model that they never had, but in that situation they're in, all they have is females. And not to say that a woman couldn't give advice or anything like that, but sometimes a male perspective helps. But in a situation where there's little, I think it's like what 10% maybe of male nurses. So I would say for any of you fellows out there that's interested in nursing, being a male has its advantages in the nursing field. I would say that.
And when you are working in the units and things of that nature, I know you're a manager,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yes.
How has that experience been for you in terms of like growth? Like, so you were working in a different capacity, and
Yes.
now you're managing others.
Yes.
So how has that experience been for you?
Well, being from a staff nurse to now managing, it's it's another layer that you have to work with. So now, instead of dealing with patients, so to speak, you're dealing with staff. And like anybody else in life, staff has their various issues and various things that come up. And so you have to find a balance of managing your unit and also being sensitive and understanding to staff needs. So one aspect, you gotta run a unit. It's like you're managing a ship. You gotta make sure the ship runs correctly. But at the same time, the other side of the coin, you have to be understanding towards your staff's situations, their concerns, their work-related concerns, and sometimes their personal concerns out of work, which may affect your staff's ability to work, and you have to be sensitive and understanding to that as well. So, same situation as being a new nurse. You're going to have to learn as you go how to handle those situations. There's no magic pill for any of that. You just learn as you go.
I have an interesting question for you.
Okay.
Now, families.
All right. Yes.
They come, they have loved ones in your unit.
Yes.
Right? What advice can you give to families who, let's say their loved one is here for the first time and they don't know what to expect?
Okay, so in those situations, I found over time, it's best to spend as much time as possible with those family members because they may have a lot of anxiety, a lot of questions in their mind as to what this situation or experience is going to be for them and their loved one. And so you have to try to be available as much as you can, keep the lines of communication open, not just from the initial conversation to where they may have follow-up questions the next day or the next week as to what's going on or this concern came up or how this may affect their personal life. Because a lot of times when they're committed for the first time, it affects their personal life, their school life, their work life, their love life. And you have to answer those questions, how they interact. And so my best answer is to be available and to provide as much information as you can to them on an ongoing basis, not just the first time. It has to be ongoing until the point of discharge. And even after discharge, they may still have follow-up questions. So it's just keeping the lines of communication open and just being as open as possible about the process.
Now, I know you work a lot, and a lot of the nurses, they do such strenuous work.
Yes.
What do you do for self-care and wellness?
Oh, I tell staff all the time, take advantage of your vacation. Take your time, take that, what I call mental health breaks. You need some time to get away, to just cleanse your mind and I tell staff all the time, don't take your work home with you. Leave it at the door. You can't solve every problem. Problems won't resolve overnight. It takes time. Sometimes it takes years. So don't be stressed out if you can't solve a problem for a patient or yourself. Take those mental health days. Take advantage of those vacations. Clear your mind. Some people find a hobby. Some people like to draw. I have one nurse, her thing is drawing. Have another nurse, her thing is being involved in a kid's school activities. Some of our PCA staff, they love to work out. I actually have a little workout section for them off the unit that they go on their breaks and just, take that tension out,
Right.
work out. So yeah, it's just, bottom line, I just say have an outlet. Yeah.
So what is something that's interesting about you that people will be surprised to find out about you?
Oh God, about me, wow. I'm still a big kid inside, believe it or not. I'm still a big kid. I'm still into cartoons. Like I'm into old school cartoons, like Voltron.
Okay.
What's the name of that? The Panthers. I forgot the name of that cartoon. Lionel.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I have I'm kind of, I still got that kid inside of me to where I like the things I used to do as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Derrick, one of the reasons why I did want to interview you is because I'm aware of the work you do.
Yes.
So I wanted to give you your flowers, now as
Yes.
opposed to later in your career, but I think that another cool factor about being a male, having male presence on units is something that I observed, that you have a calming effect on the unit.
That's good.
Right? So, I know that your unit is one of the more difficult units.
Yes.
And I think that your presence has helped tremendously because a lot of the patients have communicated they feel safer, they feel that they can come, you're approachable, things of that nature.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say congratulations
I appreciate it.
on such a great job that you're doing.
Yes.
And that I think that people will see this and use it for its sake. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to share this information.
Anytime. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity just to give some feedback and just to, put a message out there that, you can do this.
Definitely. And also that there's males needed in the nursing field.
There you go.
Right. Definitely. So thank you again for joining the CJ Kids podcast, and definitely would like to have you on again in the future.
Anytime.
All right then. Thank you very much.
All right.